I'm going to go ahead and introduce our amazing presenters. We have Dr. Wendy Johnson, who is a pediatric MD of Tribeca Pediatrics with us here today. Welcome, Wendy. And if you can unmute yourself. And Zakia Mohammed Stevens, who is the Community Outreach Manager at Tribeca Pediatrics. And they're here to talk to you a little bit about the importance of preventive healthcare and how to advocate for yourself with your own health. And so without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic over to Dr. Wendy and to Zakia.
Okay, Zakia, do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I can go first, no problem, since I'll be brief. Hi, everyone. I'm Zakia. I'm the Community Outreach Manager here at Tribeca Pediatrics. Just to give you a little context about our practice, we are a New York City-based and established pediatric practice. We were started by Dr. Michelle Goin in '94, so a really long time ago, it seems like. And he started a small office out of his home in Tribeca and has expanded all throughout the tri-state area. We have about 30 different offices, and it's really nice because you can get really personalized care with one pediatrician. We offer same-day visits, so if there is anyone on the call that does have children or has worked with children, you know that sometimes you need immediate care, and so by offering same-day services and same-day visits, it really allows, for every child to kind of gain the quality healthcare that is really necessary for them to live really fulfilled lives. Like I said, we offer just pediatric care throughout the tri-state area. We have offices in Manhattan, a lot in Brooklyn, also in Queens, and we're hopefully going to be expanding in the Bronx. I also just wanted to share too, we do offer pregnancy and parenting classes. We offer childcare, CPR and safety, and baby care and feeding. I'm just going to share my screen so that way you can see the classes. Can everyone see my screen okay? So if there is anyone that is interested in taking one of these classes, I would say that the CPR and safety class is really great. If any of you all do work with little children, up to typically 12 years is where the curriculum stops, but it's really great information for anyone that needs, CPR and safety education. There's also baby care and feeding. So if you would like to take a class, they are live and virtual. Feel free to just leave your information in the chat, and I'll be sure to have our coordinator contact you so that way you can take a class. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Wendy, and she's just going to hop right into it. Thank you so much for joining our session as well.
Hey, everyone. So good to be here. So excited. If anybody is brave enough, you can put your camera on. I love seeing faces of people, just to know, your reactions and who I'm connecting with, who I'm talking to. Feel free to put questions in the chat. We're going to be looking at that. And also, I'm going to leave some time at the end to answer some questions. So I put my contact information also in the chat. My email, my email is wendygjohnson@gmail.com. And my Twitter is @drwendygg. So feel free to hit me up. If you email me, put something like Felix talk or something so I'll know how we've connected, because I literally get dozens and dozens and dozens of email every day, and I don't want your email to get lost. So it's wendygjohnson@gmail.com. And I'm also on Twitter, Dr. Wendy G. That's my Twitter. I'm on Instagram, but Instagram is just like photography and roller skating and stuff like that. But like my doctor stuff is on Twitter. So as I said, I'm really excited to be here speaking with all of you. I'm a pediatrician here in Brooklyn. And, one of the things that's amazing about being a pediatrician, not just watching a child grow up, but also helping them transition just from being a kid where there's other people telling you what to do, et cetera, to being a grown-up and being able to make decisions, wise decisions, healthy decisions for your life. My goal as a pediatrician is for each one of you to be healthy and whole when you get to adulthood. Rosie, did you have a question? Are you raising your hand or are you just agreeing? Are you saying amen?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rosie.
We're not allowed to like chat because our thing is not letting us chat.
Oh, so you don't have access to the chat?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Can you see my info in the chat, or do you want to
Yes,
write it down? You can read it, but you can't put anything in it. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Rosie. So listen.
Thank you for that. I will look into that while you guys continue on with the workshop, and I'll see if I can get that remedied in any way.
Yeah, if you have a question for me, do what Rosie did. If you're on camera, obviously, raise your hand. If not, down in the reaction section, is there a hand raise? I don't see a hand. Oh no, there's a thing you click on, raise your hand, and then I'll see that even if you're not on camera. Okay, sorry about that. Didn't know that was happening. But anyway, I'm just glad to be here, and I'm glad that I'm able to just say a few things that will help you guys along your journey. Now, I'm not going to have a quiz at the end, but there's a couple of things I want to say right away so that if I run out of time at the end, I've already said it, and then we're going to talk a little bit more detail. So the first thing I want to say right away is that you matter. You are not invisible. You are not powerless. You are not voiceless. Okay? I don't know what happened before, but you matter. You are not invisible. And I also want you to know that your identity and your worth is not in the hands of any human being, whether they're nice or not, whether they do responsible things or they do irresponsible things. Your worth and your identity is not in the hands of any human. The next thing I want to say is sort of dovetailing on that. The mistakes, the foolishness, or the irresponsible choices of grown-ups is not your fault, is not your responsibility. You can't fix another person, you can't work on another person, neither can you take responsibility for another person. Now, we're all living on this planet together, we're all connected to people, and so when people do foolish things, yeah, sometimes it affects us. But what we're responsible for, what I'm responsible for, and what you are responsible for are your choices and what you do. So I just want to say that right from the jump. And the other thing I want to say that's important as youth coming through the foster care system and eventually moving on, I want you to identify for yourself one or two trustworthy adults. And when I say trustworthy, I mean you have seen with your eyes, you have heard, and you have observed their actions, and they are worthy of your trust. Trustworthy, okay? Because these are people that even though you'll eventually you're not going to be a part of the foster care system, as you go on in your journey, these are people who are still going to be in your corner, that you can still contact, that you can still, bounce ideas off of, or they can share with you important resources or whatever. So locate and identify for yourself, stop and think and find out who in your world, whether it's from school, whether it's a relative, whether it's a faith leader, whether it's somebody in your neighborhood, whether it's somebody that's, in the professional foster care world. But I want you to identify one or two trustworthy adults. Get their information, save their information, let them know that you may contact them, from time to time when you have questions or when you have things that you need help with. Okay, do that. All right, I just wanted to get those things off the table immediately. So now we're supposed to be talking today about you learning how to advocate for your own health. Now, as a pediatrician, I talk a lot about things that have to do with health and life and all this kind of stuff with my patients. There's two main areas that I want to look at. The first area I want to look at is communication, and that's basically communicating with other people. And the second area I want to look at is what you do for yourself, literally, what you do for yourself. So we'll first talk about communication. And like I said, if you have a question, raise your hand or use the little hand raising reaction in the chat, and we'll see that. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to use the chat, but raising your hand will let us know that you have a question. And it's okay to interrupt me if you have a question. All righty. So in terms of just doctors and healthcare settings and all that kind of stuff, it's important that you keep your appointments. And if you can't keep your appointment, like something happened or you're running super late or whatever, you have to change plans, just call and reschedule. That's fine. Just like in life, if you're running late for something or something that you were scheduled to do and you're unable to do it, it's okay to reschedule. That's fine. Just reschedule it. But do keep up with those checkups. Don't let them pass by. Don't ignore your health. Don't, even though you're young, I don't want you to feel like, like your body is just indestructible. We all have bodies and we got to take care of them. So keep your appointments. And if you need to change it, just reschedule. And when you do have your doctor's appointments, when you do go in for your checkups or your sick visits, or if you have to see a specialist about something, be honest. Just be upfront about how you're feeling, what's going on. It's okay. Doctors are people who went to medical school and did all this kind of stuff to help. We're here to help. And we want to be in the best position to give you our best advice and our best care, whatever that looks like for whatever the situation is. But if we don't actually know what you're dealing with, or how you're feeling, or the pain or anxiety, or your stomach ache, or your constipation, or somebody, you got into a fight and somebody hit you and it still hurts, whatever it is, just be honest with us. It's a safe place. It's a place where you have privacy. When you go to the doctor, whoever brings you to the doctor, whether it's a relative or someone in the foster care system or whomever is there with you, make sure that you still have some time privately with the doctor. Pediatricians, we all know that the teenage years and the early adult years are when people are learning how to handle things for themselves and take responsibility for things for themselves. But it's also important to know legally, you do have a right when you go to the doctor to have private time with the doctor that's confidential. So say you want to bring up a certain subject, but you don't want to bring it up in front of whoever brought you to your appointment. If your pediatrician doesn't automatically just ask that person to step out of the room, you can ask that person to step out of the room. You can say, excuse me, so-and-so, whoever they are, whatever. I'd like to talk to my doctor for a few minutes alone or one-on-one, or however you want to put it. But that's your right, and certainly utilize that opportunity to speak with your doctor privately. I work at Tribeca Pediatrics, and so most pediatricians use it, but it's this little survey that we give to anybody 13 and up. And it just asks basic questions, about 12 questions. Are you dealing with depression or feeling sad or down or hopeless? Has anyone touched you in a way that was inappropriate? Have you ever cut yourself? Do you struggle with your body image? Do you feel like you weigh too much, or that you weigh too little? Have you ever been involved in a sexual relationship with someone? Are you attracted to males, females, both? You don't know. Like, we just want to know where you are so that we can be in the best position to give you our best. And so that time where it's just confidential between you and your doctor is important. So please don't neglect that. And maybe you don't have anything to say. Maybe it's just a good day, a good checkup, nothing going on, just getting a regular checkup. That's okay too. Another thing about your health is you want to understand what's going on. You want to understand the conversation that's happening. You don't want to leave the doctor's office and then have no idea what happened or what was talked about. You want to understand the numbers, your height, your weight, your blood pressure, your BMI or your body mass index. You want to know what that stuff is all about. Sometimes there's going to be like a vision test or a hearing test. You want to know, like, okay, what's going on? Is this normal? Do I need to do anything about it? Or is this, just fine the way it is? Understand that stuff. Another important aspect is getting your vaccines. Most teenagers have gotten all of the vaccines you need to get when you're a baby. So most of the baby shots are done, and there's just a few for teenagers to get. There's the meningitis vaccine. So you don't want to get meningitis. Okay, that can cause permanent brain damage. So there's the meningitis vaccine. Then there's the human papillomavirus vaccine, which is called HPV. That's the one that protects someone from getting warts in the genital area. And warts in the genital area can cause cancer. So you definitely don't want, some part of your sexual health to lead to cancer. So that's another vaccine for teenagers. And then the third one that most teenagers get is called Tdap. That protects you against tetanus. That one you have to get for the rest of your life, like every 10 years. So even me as a grown-up, I still have to get that vaccine every 10 years. And now we also have the flu vaccine. It's flu season. And we also have the COVID vaccine. So those are all the vaccines that are out there. It's a good idea to get them. It's a good idea to ask questions with your doctor, find out what's best for you, and make those decisions with wisdom. Also, dental care. I don't want to forget dental care. Some of you are really good about brushing your teeth and, like before you go to bed, and you don't eat too much candy and all this other stuff. And some of us, okay, we're not so perfect with that. But take care of your teeth, but also make sure you get dental checkups and appointments. Some of you may need braces. While you're still in the foster care system, this is the time to go ahead and get braces, because braces can be quite expensive. But a lot of foster care programs actually will pay for your braces and make sure that you get those braces. So that's another thing you might want to do before you're no longer in the foster care system. Yes, I see a hand. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Is it Lanaya?
It's Linnea.
Linnea, I'm sorry. Thank you for raising your hand.
So I have a question. So The place that I live with has like a little fragile kid. Would you recommend for like the whole family to get it, including her, or no?
When you say a fragile kid, meaning that they're susceptible to getting like a really bad infection and they might die? Is that what you mean by fragile?
So we had this little girl that's 15. She came to us and she was like on life support and stuff.
Okay.
And so like any virus like we get in the house, like she gets sick really bad.
Oh, I see.
So like last year I did school online to protect her. So like I didn't know if that would be okay to get, like just to protect the little girl, like if the whole family should.
It's always wise when you think about vaccines, especially vaccines that are highly, things that are highly contagious, like the flu and like COVID and, things like that, to consider the whole environment of your life, like where you live and with whom you live. I'm not necessarily in charge of where you live, and I don't think I have any authority over where you live. But my advice, if you had come into the office and I was your pediatrician, I would say, yeah, go ahead. Does that help you, Linnea?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Are there any other questions? I have more to say, but are there any more questions at this point? You guys are good? Okay. So the last thing I want to say is a lot of doctors' offices have like they use electronic medical records, and they also have an app so that you, the patient, can actually download the app on your phone, and you can send an email to your doctor. You can request an appointment. You can see all those numbers, your height, your weight, your blood pressure. Like you can actually see all that stuff. So I would say find out from your doctor if there's an app that you can use where you can access your information, as well as where you can contact your doctor. So that's just a little something. So I want to move on to the part of just taking care of yourself. But before I move on to that section, does anyone have any questions about the doctor visits, the doctor's office, that part of it, and speaking up for yourself? Does anyone have anything? Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is take care of yourself, because you are very precious, very precious. Taking care of yourself means making sure that you eat, healthy foods. Now, everybody doesn't eat healthy foods 24/7, 365. Okay, I know that. I don't either. But have an attitude where you make a choice. Don't mindlessly eat just because everyone around you is mindlessly eating. Maybe you can say, no, thank you, or I'm good, or I'm really not hungry right now, or I don't need that, or I'm going to have dinner later. It's okay to turn down some terrible food. It's okay. The other thing you want to do is you want to try to stay active. I know we all spent like a year and a half being sedentary, because of the pandemic, and we've learned some bad habits about being sedentary, but let's try to wake up our bodies and be active. Sometimes, it means just doing some exercises on a regular basis, 1, 2, maybe even 3 times a week. And it doesn't have to be high intensity. You could do some push-ups and some sit-ups, and that'll work a whole lot of your muscles. Or maybe instead of taking the train straight to where you live exactly, maybe get off at the stop before your stop and then walk the rest of the way. Give yourself another 15 or 20 minutes to walk. Or, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. Just little things like that. But you want to be an active person. You don't want to just be sedentary and just a blob. You want to be on the move. The other thing you want to manage is your sleep. Most people your age need 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours of sleep. And I know Mondays are hard because after the weekend, a lot of times people sleep in on the weekend, and then Sunday night comes and you're not really sleepy. You don't want to go to bed, but you got to wake up early Monday morning. So it's not a bad idea to try to have your bedtime at about the same time, and the time you wake up in the morning at about the same time. And it'll make it easier for you to get the rest you need and also be fresh and ready at the beginning of the week, so you're not just drained and out of it on Monday. So try to manage your sleep as best you can, and also manage your stress levels. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be perfect for you to be able to accomplish things, for you to be able to move forward. Just don't let too many things that are outside of your responsibility to invade you and your mind and your thoughts. Remember what I said earlier, you're not responsible for other people. Other people might make foolish decisions. Other people might do really crazy things, but you're not responsible for them. You're responsible for you. So just keep that in mind. what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, one more thing about the eating. Now I know everybody's talking about the COVID vaccine or like vaccines in general, like what's in it? Why should I get it? What's it going to do to me? But think about every time we sit down and eat like a bag of Cheetos, like how many chemicals are in there that we are taking straight into our body, right? I can remember when I was in residency and I was working like 80 hours a week. Sometimes I would come home and I would eat a whole thing, one of those little pints of Haagen-Dazs ice cream. That was killing me. That's ridiculous. So just keep in mind, there's a lot of things that we do that we could do better in. Now, about the COVID vaccine, as I said before, I'm a pediatrician. I'm around sick people all the time. Little kids are getting this close to my face, breathing in my face, coughing in my face. Even though I have a mask on, their germs they're everywhere. So I was vaccinated just because I don't want to get COVID. I don't want to get sick. But try to make decisions for your health. Think about being choosy. Think about just slowing down and pause and think to yourself, is this the thing to do? And before you go ahead and do it. Now, going back to stress, most of the stress that we experience in our life has to do with finances, job, relationships with other people, our health. Like those are the areas where stress is usually happening. And our relationships with other people tends to be like the biggest. One of the ways you can do that is try to stay away from risky people that do things that you're not comfortable with, because they're going to want to try to pull you into something that deep in your heart, you're just not comfortable with that, or you just don't like that. Don't be sucked in. Sometimes the most powerful thing you could say or do is to just say no. No. And you can practice saying no in little areas, things that aren't very, major. Like somebody says, oh, can I call you at such and such time? And already you have something else you have to do. It's a low risk thing to just say to them, no, I'm not available at such and such time. I have to take care of blah, blah, blah. It could be somebody saying to you, oh, can you go with me to such and such store? I want to go try on blah, blah, blah. And maybe you don't even like the clothes in that store, or you just want to do something else. You could just say no. All the way up to somebody pressuring you to have sex with you, somebody pressuring you to vape or use some drugs or drink something or do something that you just don't feel comfortable with. Say no. The people who are going to get upset are the people that have insecurities that have nothing to do with you. So if they're upset, don't take responsibility and try to fix it by taking your no and turning it into a yes. If you're not comfortable, say no and keep it moving. That's a really important skill. I can tell you right now, there are grown-ups in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, in their 50s, and they still don't understand or know how to say no. And it's stressing them out. They're overeating. They're doing all kinds of stuff to deal with their stress because they don't know how to say no. So I want you guys to learn this now. Nobody told me this when I was your age. Nobody told me just say no. But I've learned it as an adult and I'm still learning. So I figure y'all can benefit from my mistakes. Another thing I want to talk about is social media. Take a break from it sometimes. Take a break. You can basically either deactivate your account or just remove the app from your phone or whatever. Because I can tell you right now, social media is a place where there's a lot of people showing pretty pictures and videos of all kind of stuff. But what they don't tell you is they're being paid. Somebody is literally paying them to post their content. And they don't tell you they're being paid. They just make their life look fabulous as they use this product. Or they just make their life look fabulous as they, look unrealistic. And they've used all these filters and Photoshop and airbrushing and all this stuff. They're being paid. And you could be sucked into thinking, wow, I wish I looked like this one. Or I wish I was in a cute relationship like this couple or this or that. But what you don't know is a whole lot of it is BS, made up nonsense, lies. So don't give in to that. It is not worth your time. The other thing I want to talk about is, as you move on out of high school and you move on, there are going to be some of you that are going to go straight into work. There are going to be some of you that want to go on into college. Whatever you want to do, here's a couple of tips. Now, if you're going to go straight into the work world, just know that every job has some elements, some parts of the job that are unpleasant, that you're not going to like, that you're just going to be like, I can't believe I have to do this. I'm a doctor. I have parts of my job I don't like. Parts of my job I wish I didn't have to do. Parts of my job I'm shaking my head like, I hate this. It's mainly the paperwork. Like, I like the people part, but the paperwork part, whew, I don't like it. But I understand it's a part of the package. If I'm going to have a job, I'm going to have some parts I like and some parts I don't like. So the reality is there's going to be in life, period, not just with your job, but keep in mind for your job, parts you like, parts you don't like. The other thing I want to mention is, I know, everybody's at a different stage and a different age right now, but you may have in your heart or in your mind a dream job or a dream career. Like maybe you want to work in the film industry, or maybe you want to work in the makeup and beauty industry, or maybe you want to work in construction and you want to have your own like contractor company, or maybe, whatever it is you want to do that you think would be an amazing kind of a job. One thing you can do now, even while you're still in high school, or even as an adult, see if you can locate somebody or a company and find out if they will let you work for them for free as a volunteer, maybe once a week, one day a week, or one afternoon a week. You might have to have a job over here that helps pay your bills. Okay, we all have to pay our bills. But then see if you can find a volunteer opportunity that you can do on a periodic but a regular basis, where you can be on the inside. You'll see and you'll meet people and you'll be able to see what is this dream job, or what is this dream industry all about? Because there's a lot of dream jobs out there where there's nobody that they can hire on an entry level, like on a high school level or like a college level. Like there's just not a job description for someone just starting out from scratch where you are. However, any and everybody will be happy to have somebody come in and work for free. And guess what? When you come in and you work for free, you can decide when those hours and when those days are going to be, whether it's, one morning a week, one afternoon a week, one evening a week, whether it's from home or in person. Like, you will have the ability to say, I'm available on such and such time, such and such day. And there's nobody who's going to turn down free help. Nobody's going to turn down free help. So that will give you a little bit of experience. You'll get to meet people in your dream job world. And maybe after you've been a volunteer for a while, and maybe, you might build up some experience just in the work world in general, or maybe you're going to end up going to college or doing some other things. You may be able to turn around and come back and work there. You never know. And another nice thing about volunteering, even if it's just, you know, a few hours a week, when you apply for jobs, you can put that on your resume. When you apply for college or other educational things, you can put that in your application. And guess what? That's going to make your application stand out. You're not going to be one of like 100 people, you know, in a stack of papers that have applied for something, or like all these other people that are, you know, doing their online applications. Yours is going to stand out because people that do volunteer work are very attractive in the work world and in education. So think about it. Think about it. Have your job that helps pay your bills, but see if you can get some volunteer work in an area that's interesting to you. It will pay off. Even though you're not getting cash from these people, you're getting something even better than cash. You're getting experience, you're getting connections, you're getting an opportunity to put something nice on your resume and your applications for school, etc., and beyond. Trust me, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Dr. Wendy, I just want to let you know that we are about a little under 7 minutes out.
Okay.
And thank you so much for all this valuable information. I wanted to just see if you wanted to check in on any other questions before we wrap up in a few minutes, and see if anybody has anything they want to add as a comment or a question about any of the information you guys have shared today.
Yeah. Please raise your hand. Can they put things in the chat, or is the chat still unavailable to them?
The chat is unavailable. So if you have a question, just raise your hand or unmute and we can unmute you, or you can unmute yourself and just go ahead and give your question.
Okay. So I'm going to say one last thing, but please ask your questions. I want to hear your questions. For those of you who don't go straight into a job and you go straight into like a college situation, when it comes to college, just look into all the different resources you can find for financial aid, scholarships, grants, etc. You do not want to go into a lot of debt for education. And a lot of schools will give you a whole bunch of loans. And then when it's time after graduation to find a job, they may not be very good at helping you find a job. So be very, very cautious about, you know, going into a ton of debt for education. But yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When did you know or have an idea in your mind that you wanted to be a doctor?
I was little. I didn't know anything. I just knew that doctors help people, and I liked how they helped me. I felt good at the doctor's office. I felt comfortable. So I was like, I want to do this too. I didn't know anything. I was like 7. But over the years, you know, it stuck with me. There was a short little season where I wanted to be a private detective in middle school. I wanted to be a PI, a private investigator. I don't know why I wanted to do that. But then I went back to wanting to be a doctor by the time I was in high school.
And how was that process for you, going through all the education that's required for that?
It was tough. I'm a very curious person, so I love learning. I happen to be blessed with the type of personality where I go to school and I'm like a people person. So I'm always talking and asking questions and sitting in the front of the class. And I love my teachers. You know, I was just one of those kind of people, but you don't have to be like me to succeed in medicine. I just happen to be like, I don't know. I was full of energy, and I was like, I want to do this. 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 So I was always looking for more stuff to do, more classes to take, more people to meet, more opportunities. Like I was always taking, if there was an opportunity that would put me somewhere in a hospital environment, like I volunteered doing volunteer work in the hospital. And then I did this summer program for people that were thinking about medicine. And I couldn't do enough. I was just, I don't know. I was a little extra, I think. All right, y'all. I think, is our time up? We go to 1:20 or 1:15?
We have about 3 minutes left. If there's any final questions or final comments, Zakia, if there's anything you want to share before we wrap.
I just wanted to share, thanks, Amanda. I just wanted to share that you do not have to be pregnant to take one of our classes. I would recommend that the CPR and safety class is a great general class that anyone can take. And like I said, it does cover children up to 12 years, which can be adapted to adults as well. So it's really great education to learn, for safety and definitely prevention. So you do not have to be pregnant. And my email is in the chat. So hopefully that can be shared with you if anyone is interested in taking a class.
That's great. And in case people can't see the chat at this time, I don't know if it's visible and you just can't type. I can or see if you guys can see it, but maybe you could read out your.
Absolutely. So it's Zakiyyah, ZAKIYYAH at TribecaPediatrics.com. And that's TRIBECAPEDIATRICS.com.